we saw progress stall out, I would intervene at that point.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell on the future relationship between Metro Police and the city's Community Review Board. Critics say a new state law diminished the reach of community review boards, leaving them in limbo with very little authority.
Now, members of Metro's board tell us they have been hamstrung for months, getting limited response from Metro Police. But as Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino shows us, they are not turning to an outside attorney for help.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
She's here. She's here. She's outside.
Who is outside, Michaela?
My ex. I have order of protection against him.
You're hearing some of the last words that Michaela Carter would ever speak. The 24-year-old's estranged husband shooting her dead in her own home, according to police, about 10 minutes after Metro officers left. Those officers telling Michaela they couldn't arrest James Leggett over threatening texts and calls. But Michaela had a protective order.
What's going on? Michaela, what's happening?
And those officers were found to be wrong. Metro Police's internal Office of Professional Accountability reported that one officer violated the department's policy, giving an inefficient performance.
Thank you.
Before last year, the city's previous Community Oversight Board would have been able to independently investigate what happened to Michaela, getting much of the police file. But a new state law restricts the scope of officer watchdog agencies in Tennessee. Metro's restructured Community Review Board has less ability to do its own vetting of allegations on officer misconduct or excessive force.
And what the board does get to see of Metro Police's internal investigation right now depends largely on MNPD's interpretation of the new law.
I think that there has to be a pathway for us to work together to do this work. And then also, if they don't want to cooperate, then what is the next step?
The board must now hand over all complaints to Metro Police first, and then wait on a summary of MNPD's findings after they close the case. It's also debated what police records, reports, and body cam video the board will be able to review because of a confidentiality change in the bill.
An investigation summary may include 1 to 6 or 7 pages. An investigative file, which is what the law says that we can have, could have 30, 40, 60, 70 pages.
So have you been getting the whole file?
No.
I got my hands on these citizen complaints investigated by Metro Police Internal Affairs. And I can tell you the summaries that they sent back to the Community Review Board are all about a paragraph long. Highlighted here, you can see they're much less than half a page.
It's pretty hard to review a summary. You really need the nitty-gritty of the investigation.
But some legal minds argue a simple written agreement between the board and police to keep the documents private can solve the problem, allowing the board access. But a meeting to hash out a memorandum of understanding between the board, the mayor, and Chief John Drake has been stalled for months.
We just need the mayor blessing that he stand behind this MOU.
Over the last year, I asked the mayor of Nashville 4 different times what access the Community Review Board will have to investigations over officer conduct. Here's what he told me just a couple weeks ago after he spoke to the Community Review Board publicly for the first time since that new law went into effect last summer.
What access will the CRB have to those documents, to those police records?
So it is true, and I think Metro Legal is correct here. The state law had a material impact on some of the information that is obligated to be shared.
The previous MOU spelled it out that none of those documents would be shared publicly. So the question for the CRB is, can we just have that same clause in this MOU?
And I'm confident we will get to an outcome that is very similar to what we had in place previously.
Metro Police and city attorneys have repeatedly told Fox 17 News a memorandum of understanding would not supersede state law. Mayor Freddie O'Connell appearing to take a middle-of-the-road stance on the upcoming talks involving police transparency.
We are seeing progress, but if we saw progress stall out, I would intervene at that point.
This, as the Community Review Board has now hired its own outside attorneys.
The long-awaited meeting between the Community Review Board, the police chief, and the mayor still hasn't happened. I'm told it will in the next few weeks. I've been told that before. I can tell you that attorneys for both sides will be there. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.